right, hello everybody. I know it's late, I know we're tired, so I'm going to try and keep this short. My name is Samantha Abate, and I'm from Dolores High School. For my internship, I traveled to Santa Barbara, California, and I studied marine biology at UCSB. So while I was there, I worked in the Miller Lab with Krista and Frankie. They are my mentors. And I was using a software called Wiki to study images of the seafloor. And so I worked a lot with benthic ecology, and benthic means the seafloor. So I was working a lot with images of organisms on the seafloor. Specifically, these clams. We were looking through these images to identify a couple different species. One of the most common ones was Paraphilus californica, which you can see right down there in the corner. And this was part of a LTER project, which is a long-term ecological research project. And this is something that my mentors have been working on for a couple years before I came here, and they're going to continue working on it well into the future. And these clams, they're called boring clams, and not the kind of boring that's like, oh, I hate this, but I thought they were kind of exciting. They bore into rock, and up there you can see what they actually look like. That is all inside the rock, and the only part you can actually see is that part right down there, which is the in-current and ex-current siphons, which is how they breathe and eat food and stuff. And you can see we marked them with little dots in all the images that we went through. And while I was there, I also got to sit in on a biology of the marine land interface class. And this was a real college class. It was a 6-week-long summer class that actual students at UCSB were also taking, and me and my fellow intern, Emma, got to sit in and take notes and attend lab and lecture, which was really cool. They went on a couple of field trips, went to Pismo Beach and some wildlife preserves where we collected a bunch of different specimens, and we would take those back to the lab and study them there. I also got to go out on the dive boat for one day, which was really cool. That was my favorite part. All the people I was there with, I didn't get to go scuba diving. It's a liability. But they all got to go, and they went down, and they were surveying the images they were retaking images that I had been looking at. So it was really nice to see what I'd really been looking at on a computer screen for so long. And my mentor, she went with me. She was nice enough to bring me up some organisms from the bottom. That is a bat star right there, and that is a sheep crab. That was a really big one, and it was really cool to hold them in my hands and see them. I also helped a lot with some equipment preparation for Billy Ray, another member of our lab. He was working on a project where he was collecting water samples from the in-current and ex-current siphons of the clams. And so we prepared vials for him, and this is one of the last things I did, but I felt happy to help out with such a big project that he was doing, and he said it was a really big help, so I was glad to do that for him. And then in my free time, I went on a lot of different hikes. I spent some time exploring the UCSB campus, and our apartment was like a block away from the beach, so I spent a lot of time on the beach. Me and my fellow Pintern, my roommate, we got to attend a professional soccer match between Wrexham and Bournemouth, which was super cool to see. And my dad came out and visited me halfway through, and he bought surfboards for us, and so I learned how to surf. And really, I just spent a lot of time exploring the area, and it was seeing what it had to offer. So what I learned was a lot about college, what it would be like to really be in college. I had to cook, clean, and attend lecture, just as if I were a student. And one piece of advice is if you're going to do this and you're going to cook for yourself, have recipes prepared in advance, because we cooked a lot of pasta, and I am so tired of pasta. I still don't eat that much anymore.
We're going to make Trang's class mandatory.
Yeah, the cooking class is going to be mandatory. I also learned a lot about marine biology as a career. That was one of the big reasons that I was doing this, so I could decide whether or not this was something I really wanted to go into. And I learned it's a lot more computer work than I was expecting. So if I'm going to go into it, I'm going to pick something where I'm going to spend a lot more time in the field. Because seeing the data collection in both the field and the lab was really interesting, and I really enjoyed being out in the field and bringing specimens back to the lab that we could study there. So my advice would be, make sure you get out of the house. Do not stay cooped up. You got to go see the restaurants and all the wildlife that's out. If there's trails around, go make use of those. And I know you've heard this a lot, but take advantage of the opportunities. You'll get some, and you should always, always, always take them. And don't be afraid to ask for them either. And I know you've also heard this a lot, but ask questions, even the silly ones. I asked a lot of silly questions, but I always felt better when I did. And I would like to thank all these wonderful people and my wonderful roommate.